Hello and welcome to this short tutorial on WordPress and basic WordPress setup. Today I'm going to run you through the basic setup of a WordPress website. I would recommend that you use the additional content that's available on Moodle and any other available videos or web content to be checking how to learn some stuff a bit further after or later on. Okay, so the first thing to do is to obviously search for WordPress. Now WordPress is an online graphic user interface web builder that comes with a lot of pre-made templates. So if you go to the wordpress.com site, because I'm already signed in, this is automatically going to navigate me to this area here. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to sign out for a second. Okay, now you'll be seeing a screen just like this. You want to click on the Get Started bit. When you click on the Get Started bit, you want to select one of these panels here. We're going to say start with a website. Now, when you start with a website, you will be prompted to create a template, a basic template, to start off with, which you can always change later. Now I have a series of templates that are probably better for you to be using right now, that's more manageable whilst on the course. Some of them will be Pen Scratch 2, Baskerville, Rembulance, but Rowling tends to be the better one, which we're going to change in a minute. I only say that because when we're developing the blog, we want to be able to have search features on there and categories that are easily accessible for when your work is graded. So for now, I'm just going to choose, say, one of these ones. Okay, then you give yourself your site an address. Okay, for this, we're going to say KCIMGD. Okay, then this will be your KC number, which will be on your card. Yeah, and then it'll be .wordpress.com, and we'll go from there. Alternatively, we could have your first name and then your surname if available. We tend to prefer to use the learner number when setting this up, only because in the past you might find there's been some learners with the same names, like John Smith for instance. Okay, anyway, once the site's been made accessible, it will say free. So if it shows up as free, okay, then you will select the one that shows up as free. So it'll be your KCIMGD number with your number 105, okay, and then .wordpress.com. Okay, so from this point I'm just going to log in quickly into my one. Okay, so once you go into WordPress after, you can then log in. I'm using my email here, password. You can leave this logged in underneath a Google browser if you want to, because it might be easier for you to get in and out of it as and when. Okay, so I'm just going to log in. Okay, I'm going to say start with a website. Let's choose, I don't know, the gateway one for now. Okay, Kieran B. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go Kieran B Web. We'll go with that one. We're going to say start with a free account. Continue. This is my site, as my site will appear inside WordPress. Now, there's a few things that you'll need to tidy up at the start once you first start using your site, and that's obviously to make sure that you've got the right headings, and that we remove some of this content that's based down here that we're not basically not going to be using. So you can customize the main web page as and when you need to. The blog section is a section that we'll be dealing with. So for instance, if I was to click on blog, here is some of the content that's already been put in for you in the template ready to use. Now, there's a few ways that you can edit inside WordPress. One of the first ways being that if we click on the little right symbol just up here, click on that, okay, it brings up the editor. Now this editor here is no different to something that you might use if you've been using Microsoft Word or any other kind of open office kind of text editor. The only difference being that when we work with WordPress, you can use the visual GUI, or you can actually look at the code options inside here. Now at the moment you can't see anything underneath the code options because nothing's been written. So I'm going to put this down as induction, but how to write and develop a story, for instance. Now if I click on the HTML part here, it shows up as text. Now if ever you've been inside your web browser, there are web tools inside your web browser that enable you to actually view the code that currently makes up a website, which is essentially what's happening here at the moment. Alright, so I'm just going to come back to the GUI. Now the next thing that we have to set up at the start, and is very important, is to be able to make sure that content is both is easily accessible throughout your site, so ways that we can find it within your site, as well as making sure that it's easily found within an SEO search engine. So there's two things that we look at when we're looking at this, and the first one is categories. Okay, now category, if you think about it, this is like the parent of a topic, if you will, and then below that you might have kind of sub topics inside there that might be that you might attach, and in which case we'd assign tags. So if I click on here for a new category, just go induction. Okay, I'm going to leave this as a top level, but then tags that I'm going to assign to this, I'm going to assign storytelling, just press return once. There's one tag, then press retreatment, press return once. Ideas, development, press return once, and the other one I'm going to put is sketches. So we might say that inside the topics that we're doing on this induction at the moment, the key things that we might have covered might have been storytelling, making a treatment, some ideas development, and sketches. Now if I wanted to search your site at any point and find a treatment, this would basically bring up all the treatments that you might have done throughout the course of a year or 2 years. Anything that you might have done storytelling wise or ideas development wise or sketches, I can then bring up all as one. However, if I just needed to find the category or a unit that you might be working on, in which case we'd class that as a category. So inside here we might add some additional categories. We don't have to use them straight away, but I might put unit 12 stroke unit 4 and then poster design. For instance, and then we'll add in the other units in a bit later, but we'd add this. Now I can add this induction to this category as well, but I'm just leaving this as one, so leave that one ticked. Induction there. Oh, I'll cancel that for a second. Untick that one. So we're leaving the induction ticked and this stuff ticked here. Now inside WordPress, as you can see, I just click inside here and we might write something. If we need to, we can obviously make that bold. We can then make it underlined. We can bullet point this if we needed to. I can assign headings. Now inside here, because this is HTML, the headings are predefined. It's not like a normal Word editor whereby we can go up in sizes. The sizes tend to be preset. So I'm going to click on that one just to undo the italic. Okay. Then we might just highlight this. Click on underline. Oh no, make that highlight again. Underline. Okay, so we've put in our font, we've underlined it, and now we might start writing. Today, during the induction task, I okay, etc. Now, the great thing about a blog as well is we can incorporate both quite a few other visual elements inside here as well. There's a few ways that we can do this. If we click on insert content, okay, you can add images, documents, videos and audio. But as you'll see, because you need a premium account for the videos and audio, we might have to actively apply other ways of putting the videos and the audios in if you haven't got a premium account. Now, to do this, it's quite simple. We just use other kind of sites such as SoundCloud for audio, or we might use YouTube